Hey people, I hope you're fine. Today in this video I want to talk about what happens when your ex-partner that might be a narcissist or might be diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder or with any other personality disorder or traits from the class 2B spectrum reaches out to you. And this happens obviously, and I'm not talking about the on-off period when they reach out. It also applies to then, but I talk about like after you've been dumped or discarded, like for good. Maybe they just ran to another person immediately, or they really hurt you so much that there's no way back, and then it happens most of the time that they will reach out to you. It happened in my case, and I'm also in these videos here just talking about my own experience. I'm not a therapist, I'm not a medical professional. I'm just on my own healing process, journey, however you want to call it, and took a lot of therapy, different sorts of therapy, worked on my inner child and just tried to make sense of it all. And as YouTube helped me a lot, or just like reading a lot of literature about it to understand it at first, I want to give my knowledge back to you guys. So let's start. So usually it happens that you feeling a little bit better, and you notice that you didn't immediately think about this person while after waking up, or you notice like throughout your day that you actually feel a little bit lighter, and then there it comes. An email usually, or a text message if you haven't been blocked yet, or just some other thing. And in my case this also happened, and I felt somehow relieved from the deeper pain that I still felt, because I'm like working on this every day and it's present in my mind all the time. I felt a little bit lighter, but then as soon as I saw on my phone home screen that I got an email, I was like, oh wow, maybe this person realized something. And you get like a life sign, or just something from a person that you missed so much and that caused so much pain. And while living in this state of trauma, the only thing that could help is like this magical moment, as if they would come back, stand in front of your door and apologize and just do the right thing, and you're relieved from this pain and this really dark valleys that you have to go through after such a relationship. So when I saw this email on my home screen, I told myself, I was actually just with my family, visiting them because I live abroad, having dinner, and my mother is sitting next to me, and I was just like, oh, the person, she reached out to me. And my mom said like, just delete it immediately. However, what happens is like, you also want to give it a little bit of a chance, because the way your brain is wired is, or like if you don't suffer from this personality disorder, is that you think this person might miss me as well. And then your whole brain chemistry gets messed up, your nervous system is maybe thrown back into the state where you were while in this relationship with this person. And in that sense, it makes perfect sense that you feel really tempted to think that now maybe things take a positive turn, maybe this person learned something, because you on your end might have gone through like a really big process since this breakup, and also saw your weak spots and try to improve them. So you naturally think that the other person also does that. However, there's unfortunately, from what you read and what you hear, and also what therapists told me, is a really small percentage of people reaching out to you after a while. And in my case, it was after a couple of months, having changed or having realized how they wronged you. And so the thing is, what you should do is just first like not react, because now all your nervous system is like completely messed up, and your brain chemicals go like nuts. And while you're in this state, you're almost like drunk or something. So don't react and let it sit. Give yourself time. Like, just tell yourself you've been like without this person. This person might have been with someone else like already, or several people. Just tell yourself, okay, I'm gonna give myself 3 days. I read what I received and I give myself 3 days. And during these 3 days, you should do like a lot of things that are good for you. And I understand that it might be stuck on your mind that this person sent you a message or try to reach out to you, maybe also via friends. It's gonna be on your mind, and so is also gonna be like the hope is gonna be on your mind. But just make sure to not react on it and just calm down and chill. Then the second thing that you should consider is the way they reach out to you. Usually after a relationship like that, there's so much damage and you have been hurt tremendously, especially during the end of the relationship, because that's the way they disconnect from you. And they also have this mindset as if you were the bad girl, the bad guy, whatever. And they leave like that, you know. And in order to come back, because I hope that in the meantime you understood that they were the bad person. I mean, who's bad, who's good, I don't know. Like, everybody makes mistakes, but it's like you cannot just rob gas station and then after 1 year just casually go into this gas station where still the same owner is working. You got to come there with like a big apology, or with an explanation, or like in an email with a person like that. It should start with something like, I don't know, like they should not just casually contact you. As in my case, my ex received a book that was sent to her address, that I once ordered something somewhere and they sent out these 3 books and they still had my name and her address, and she asked me if she should send it to me or whatever. That's all. Like, if they don't come up with like a sincere apology, and most of the times they don't even talk about what happened, and they just think they can reset and restart the communication with you. That means like they just completely devalue and invalidate your feelings, because with all the pain you've gone through after what they most likely did towards the end, because it's really typical for cluster B folks, people suffering from traits from the cluster B spectrum, they leave with like so much damage, and they leave you like really injured and harmed. So if they reach out without like an apology or without saying something about how they experienced the time apart and what they've gone through themselves, it most likely isn't like a genuine attempt to get closer to you again. Think about it. I mean, it's just like a repetition of this lack of emotional, spiritual intimacy that has been there also throughout the relationship. So all the tears you've cried and all the sleepless nights you've had and all these dark valleys you've been to during the time with no contact, it's just completely not validated. And they know that this must have felt bad for you. They somewhere know deep down. What they're trying is they just try to test the waters and to get closer to you again and see how you react. So in my case, I did react in a really cold way, really formal or informal. How do you say, like, just like no emotions, nothing, just saying like, I don't need this book. But then also like I got so angry and I reached out again with sharing my experience and what painful time I've had and what all the wounds that I feel. I did it in a really respectful way, and I also said that I'm missing this person and all of that. However, like, people would judge me and say that this was a bad decision to do, and so they win back control. But obviously, like, since I'm working on my healing and I never want to engage in a relationship dynamics like this, I don't care. Like, I got nothing to lose. And when I sent this email, I already did not expect anything healthy coming out of it. I just needed that, you know. But the thing is, yeah, you have to be really, really prepared for this moment when they reach out to you, and you have to think about, really, firstly, to just relax your nervous system, because you're gonna get this dopamine. It's like a drug addict that at some point his drug dealer refused to deliver him drugs, and then at some point he sees his drug dealer like waving at him on the street. So what happens is with the addict, his whole dopamine levels and everything gets completely messed up, and there's a chance to relapse and to fall back into this. And the thing is, what the drug dealer should do, the former drug addict, is like, he should just like walk away and ignore. That's like a form of self-protection, and that's like a form of self-respect as well, because you don't have to judge yourself in a negative way that you've been with this person, that you let a person hurt you so much, that you tried and tried again to maintain a healthy relationship, that you were forgiving, that you saw that they're actually broken and not evil, and so forth. You should forgive yourself, and you shouldn't judge yourself in a negative way. But you should also protect yourself, and that's how I usually then did it. I just always, when either I wanted to reach out, or either like in that moment she reached out, I would just tell myself, okay, my body reacts like this on that, and makes it really tempting for my actual behavior to interact with this person, because I'm craving somehow. Because we have to be honest, we're not only victims of the whole situation, we also are grown-ups, and we just like walked ourselves into these situations. So that's completely fine. Whatever reason that is, like, I will also talk about in another video about this, like what I learned, why I actually got myself into this situation and didn't get out in time. That is fine. That is completely fine. But you have to make sure to almost see like your urge to respond, or your emotions to engage in this whole thing again, that this is just you, and that's okay. And this is something that you have to improve still. And thankfully you experienced this bad situation with this person. In a way, obviously it's not good, but in a way it helped you to understand yourself better, hopefully, and to learn to understand yourself better in the process of healing, and in the process of also like really deep work, and maybe go to like work on your past, like think about your past, and how were you raised, and what kind of work situations were you in? Was there power dynamics that were similar to the ones that you had in this relationship? And yeah, your goal should be to not have something like this again in your life, be it in work, private life, family life, friendships, whatsoever, but to have healthy connections that are not based on these really, really conditional elements and values. And that's the rule for me. If I know that if my ex would reach out to me again, but she doesn't seem to be on the same boat, have the same goals, have the same ideas of how to respect people, then it's not going to work. It's not going to lead anywhere.